Stillwater, today I'm going to talk about Blue Revolution and Opportunities Unlimited. So, Blue Revolution and Opportunities Unlimited because my entire growth and development is through shrimp farming. So, I'm going to talk about shrimp farming as an aquaculture component. So you can see because aquaculture is the subject where you grow aquatic animals, vegetation. Like for example, you can grow many plants and like fishes, shrimps for commercial exploitation of the water for the food and profit. So shrimp farming is part of aquaculture where brackish water. Hello, hello. I'm audible.
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So you can say how shrimp farming has started in India. So before that, those who are very new to this subject, I would like to brief about the history and the origin of shrimp farming. So shrimp farming started in origin by incidental crops of wild shrimps, which comes through the intertidal zone on ponds. But can I request the other audience to please mute their mic because I'm getting continuous disturbance. However, the scientific shrimp farming was born in 1930s after the successful spawning of kurma shrimp by Motasako Fujinaga. And in India, we also know that famous states, coastal states like Kerala and West.
We are unable to hear you.
I think he has been muted out. He needs to unmute himself.
Dr. Manoj, you have to unmute yourself. Dr. Manoj, you have to unmute yourself. Can you hear us, Dr. Manoj? Please unmute yourself. We can see the slide. You have to just unmute yourself.
Now it's clear.
So now the sharing has stopped. Yeah, it started. I think you can retain the slides so that we don't miss them. Yeah, correct.
Hello.
Go ahead.
So talking about the shrimp farming activity, which I just discussed the background, it is followed by MPDA, the catalyst development by establishing OSPARC in Orissa and TUSPARC in Andhra Pradesh from American technologies. So you can say that once, because for any agriculture farming, seed is a very important aspect. So once the TUSPARC, OSPARC has started 1988, the commercial operation of this 2 hatcheries for Penaeus monodon, the shrimp farming gained a very, very good pace. And in no time, from 1990-94, the production shot up from 40,000 tons to 1,43,000 tons. This boomed agro sector was initially very badly affected in 1995-96 by a deadly disease called white spot, and it has came from the foreign consignments because in early 90s, when the shrimp farming was gaining a huge pace and our own hatcheries were not able to sufficiently supply the seed. So seed was imported from Southeast Asian countries, and that has imported also a deadly disease called white spot. And the downfall continues after the Supreme Court judgment came, and they stopped the activity of shrimp farming because some environmentalists, they gone into the court that aquaculture, especially shrimp farming, is causing salinization of the land. So then there was an aquaculture authority formed, and we fought the case, and then again the shrimp farming started in 97, 98. But always because of the lack of good quality seed, the farming couldn't pick up more than like 80,000 was the average. But then the white-leg shrimp called the Penaeus venami was introduced in India on trial basis in 2003. But after very good cohabitation study, and it was open to the farmers. And my dear friends, this has really, really changed the entire scene and scenario of shrimp farming in India. And in no time, the growth which took up very, very fast in 13, 14, 15, 16. And in the next 6-7 years, today I'm very proud to share with you that India has become the #1 shrimp producer and #1 exporter of shrimp in the world from nothing, from nowhere. We were in 90s, we were not even on the 7th or 8th position. We used to hardly produce 80,000 ton. From 80,000 ton to 8 lakh ton, and to become #1 and #1 in production and exports. Then you can see the resources and opportunities of aquaculture we have in India. We have a complete coastal length of 8129 kilometers. We have reservoirs, lakes for 3.5 million hectares. So you can see even the waterlogged saline affected area, we have 9 million hectares. So if you compile all the resources, because there will be a lot of people from Karnataka, Bangalore, or from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, those who are thinking of getting into the aquaculture subject. So they should also know the potential resources, what we have, whether somebody wants to go in freshwater, somebody wants to go in marine, or somebody wants to go into the brackish water. So right now, when I'm talking to you, brackish water shrimp farming, they're including 1.2 million hectares in the coastal areas, estuarine areas. Then we also have 8.5 million hectares like Sangli, Satara, to even to Punjab, Haryana, lot of groundwater where the salinization is very high, and that water is totally unfit for agriculture or even for the human use. So such areas can be very well potentially converted into this agro business. So when we talk about this business and the present available infrastructure for shrimp aquaculture in India, you can see that we have more than 500 plus hatcheries. We have 25 plus feed mills. We have processing plants, more than 650 EU approved. We have 105 aqua facilities. Because this all aquaculture infrastructure I'm talking, because recently, you know, in the independent history of India, our Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, which is an outlay of 20,050 crore, has been released, and to support this sector, because this sector has shown a phenomenal growth. If you compare the national agriculture GDP, it is 5% of the agriculture GDP and 1% of the national GDP. So total turnover from shrimp farming last year was close to 40,000 crore rupees. And Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana has brought to double the production, double the exports, and double the income of the aquaculture farmers in this country. So these are the infrastructure which supports the mandate. So as I said, 2019, you can see we were the #1 producer in the world. We have produced more than 8 lakh tons of shrimp. The turnover was close to 40,000 crore rupees. And for that, we had a seed production to 75 billion, because seed is a very important component for shrimp farming. And also to support that, we have 1.8 million tons of feed mill. So you can see a graphic representation that shrimp farming scenario. As I said, Andhra Pradesh is the mainstay state, is a father state for producing shrimp. Still 71% of the shrimp is produced in Andhra Pradesh, followed by West Bengal, Odisha, then Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and other states. So all these are the major states which contributes 8 lakh ton production to thing. And then you can also see exports. As you see, right now when I'm talking to you, amid lockdown and this COVID scenario, since our major market is US and China, which is almost 75%, has badly affected. And right now the sector is little not doing so well because China and US is still largely affected by this disease. And because of the lockdown, a lot of exports and farming issues are there. So right now we can say this year, world over, the shrimp farming is not into a prime focus. So what happened in Gujarat? Because when I came in 1994 in Gujarat, Gujarat was nothing. You know, it was almost a zero production. But the support of the farmer, the support of the government, and because Gujarati mind and DNA is always with business. So in no time, the business has very much picked up because they saw the shrimp can be grown into the Westland, which is a very big opportunity. And they don't even interfere with agriculture. They have no competition with all. So the best shrimps are produced in the Westland. So government has really encouraged, and which is one of the very best policy, single window policy, Gujarat has to give a 5-hectare land to an individual who wants to do shrimp farming. So in no time, with the success of 4 ponds in 1997 in Dandi, the shrimp farming picked up very, very well in Gujarat. And today, on an average, we produce 55,000 tons. And our productivity per unit area is highest in India. Maybe on an average, we are best in the world. And present from a scratch, what we started just with 4 ponds in Dandi, today our group turnover, the farmers group turnover is 2,200 crore. So, so I'll take you what is the shrimp farming. So what is Blue Revolution and how it has transformed the rural economy and livelihood in Gujarat. So I will take you the what is shrimp farming. So you can see traditionally shrimp farming started with the incidental tides. I said it was the traditional form, only seed and water. Then came the modified extensive when seed and some feed was started putting into the pond and scientific era started. Then semi-intensive came in 90s where seed, feed, medicine, water exchange and high production strain started. Now today when I'm talking to you, the era of modern shrimp farming, which is considered to be intensive with high stocking density module, seed, feed, medicine, probiotics, all zero water exchange has been practiced. So you can see the steps which are involved in shrimp farming, right from site selection to the scientific technologies. You can see almost 10 to 12 steps are required: layout, design, pond construction, mechanism, pond preparation, seeding, water quality management, feeding management, health management, harvesting, marketing. So you can see the glimpse of that area. You can see a Google picture of a creek which is well developed in an Olpad area of Surat. You can see the small ponds. You can see this area is almost 10 to 15 square kilometer. This is a Google view of our first project called Dandi Fish Farmers Cooperative. This project length is almost 3 kilometers, and you can see a very systematic development of the ponds. Then you can see a small project where you can see the systematic creek, the settlement, the reservoir, because for the success of any business, the fundamentals should be very right. So a key, the design of shrimp farming is very, very important for the success of shrimp farming. It requires the water, it requires a treatment pond, settlement pond, and then physical ponds for the culture. So you can see that the design is a paramount importance for the success of shrimp farming. You can see another with some nursery systems. You can see what we have made. So this nursery system will help you to rear the seeds before shifting into the culture ponds. I'll run quick because I have allotted 30-35 minute time. So you can see this is a pond. This is a shrimp pond. Is I'm audible? Hello?
Yes.
Yes. So if I'm not audible, please let me know. So sure, this is the proper size of the pond for 0.8 hectare to 1 hectare. This is a very good, well-designed shrimp pond. You can see the outlet where this was constructed, the idea of harvesting, because there is no more netting like fishermen doesn't go into the pond and harvest. So we had a sluice gate system where each and every shrimp comes out through the siphon gates, which I will show you in the coming slides. You can see a proper slope, how these ponds have been maintained, how they are constructed with the inbuilt feeder canal. You can see it's a very, because it's an aquaculture, we are doing with complete water system. So water is the lifeline for the success of the business. So minimum 10 HP is required for 1 hectare. This is a picture of pump house. Then you can see every successive crop, you need to also condition the soil. So it is like an agriculture. So once the pond is dry, you have to leave it for the cracking, drying. Then you can see the picture almost like 1 feet, 6 inches to 1 feet. The soil is oxidized under the sun. Then again replowed, recompacted like an agriculture field has been prepared. You can see the same pond so nicely prepared back for the crop. Then we fill the pond with a very proper filtration, 4-step filtration from 20 mesh, 40 mesh, 60 mesh, 80 mesh, because 4-step filter, this also helps to prevent the wild entry of fishes, crabs, which can be a disease carrier, a disease vector to your shrimp. So this is a very, very important aspect of shrimp farming, that you should have a very good filter system before filling the water. And once you fill the water, you need to again give back to the nature the steps you have to follow to culture back the beneficial plankton, the zooplanktons and the bacteria. So the shrimp gets the mother nature. It feels like it is almost they are into the natural environment. It is phytoplanktons is something like a basic food which serves as a mother milk to the developing baby. So it is very, very important to kickstart the water culture, which is at par to the nature. So we also add some prebiotic, probiotic to give the natural carbon sources for the development of the phytoplanktons. And also I have a scientific collaboration with the STS company brands. So these are all products which are antibiotic free, which are chemical free, which are all natural probiotics products, which I believe in prevention is better than the cure concept. So these are all my products which are manufactured in France and distributed to Indian farmers. So you can see the glimpse of my own farm, a well-prepared pond which is ready to stock. So you can see these are the very healthy babies from our own nurseries. These are 8 days old. They are not more than 10 to 12 mm in size. So these small babies are very well conditioned at the farm like a nursery. And then they are released. They are acclimatized well. The conditions of the pond water and the seed waters are almost matched to make them stress-free, and then they are released. Then you can see, as I discussed, these are the natural food called zooplanktons, which serves as a immunomodulator and a mother's milk to the growing baby. So you can see we need to also install some physical aeration system to provide extra oxygen to the growing animals. And these are the water quality parameters which we need to maintain. Like in our human being, we also check our blood pressure, our blood, our parameters, our urine test. So these are the water quality tests we actually perform on our ponds to match the requirement of the shrimp, growing shrimp. And then you can see, because shrimp, the feeding is the integral component of the growth. So how the feed is been broadcasted, and the feed is required for 1.5 kilos is required to harvest a 1 kilo shrimp. That is called food conversion ratio. And now we have also had some automated auto feeders, which throws the feed 24/7 to the growing shrimp, and they are more effective to save the feed and to have a better efficiency in the cost of the production. And they are also help to control the biosecurity, because one labor can contaminate pond regularly because he has to throw 5 times, 6 times the feed. So these auto feeders are the very advanced, and they are computerized to throw 200 gram feed on every 1 minute frequency. So 24/7 they feed the shrimp, so the water quality maintains at a very, very natural prime. So you can see the trace where we check and monitor the health index of the shrimp. And as you know, that whenever any animals eat, it will also subjected to natural process, and it also excrete. So it is very, very important also to manage the sludge, the excreta, the nitrogenous waste of the animal which has accumulated in the center. So latest technique we put to remove the sludge from the bottom, so to keep the water very clean. So these are some designs what we implement in our farm to clean the nitrogenous waste from the bottom. You can see a simple pit with plastic so the excreta doesn't settle on the soil, and then it is removed through the siphon pipe. You can see a pipe with the gravity, and it flushes out. And we also see we implement a lot of biosecurity tools on the farm. These are called bird nets, because birds are the biggest damager. They also come and eat shrimp, but it's not eating the shrimp, but they also carry water on their wings, which is from one pond to another pond, and they carry the disease. So this is a very, very simple method to put 18-inch twine all over the pond. It's a very simple method, but it prevents you lakhs and lakhs of rupees. And then we also maintain animal fences, trap fences, dog net to prevent wild entry of the animals into your farms. Then we also maintain a simple technique of foot wash, hand wash, because even the laborers can carry with their foot and the hand some potential disease vectors which can cause disease to the shrimp. So repeatedly their hands and foot are clean before they enter to the pond. So you can see then finally how the shrimp have been harvested. You can see the first picture, as I told, we put a sluice gate and then we tie a big tunnel of net. So subsequently the shrimp is harvested from the batch-wise from this nets. And then you can see my team with a very good harvest at my own farms. Then you can see a very good quality Penis monodon. This was the first, up to 2009, this was the dominant species in India. Then it has been took over by the specific pathogen-free Penis vanami. You can see a black tiger in my own hand. You can see this is almost like 50-60 gram shrimp. And this is the vanami. You can also see equally that size, very good quality. You can see the spread of a very good harvest on our farms. You can see the good quality shrimps. Then NFDB and all this. You can see the foreigner gentleman is Mr. Jack Spalding. He is my partner who produces the probiotics for shrimps. And she was a chief executive National Fisheries Development Board. She visited my farm last year. And you can also see, this is the concept what we have given to the shrimp farmers, because ponds cannot go to the doctor for the treatment. So we decided on a cooperative basis that we initiated a program for the benefit of the local farmers. So we created the lab, which can go to pond to solve their problems, their water quality issues, to examine their shrimp, and to give them a on-spot disease diagnosis. So shrimp clinic services, we give on-spot analysis of water, analysis of shrimp, all bacterial, all plankton analysis, and at a very minimal price, so that farmers will be benefited. So this was the launch. This we launched in 2016-17, Aquaviva Indotech, and it gives services to more than 1,000 farms in Gujarat. And then once finally the shrimp has been produced, we had our state-of-the-art processing plant, because nearness to the farm means fresh quality. Especially the Europeans, Americans, they love the shrimp, which is packed within 2 hours, within pre-rigor, because whenever an animal or any living species dies, they undergo a process called rigor mortis. Pre-rigor, in-rigor, and post-rigor. Post-rigor means already there is a spoilage in the body. So we go very close to the farm. These processing plants are situated right in the heart of the shrimp farming. So a very fresh quality shrimps within 1 hour is packed in the shrimp processing plant. You can see thousands and thousands of women power. They get employment in this 7 processing plant based in South Gujarat. And then as I'm talking about shrimp farming and processing scenario, you can see today we are very proud to share that Seafood Export Association of India is one of the most strongest association in the world, with 612 processing plant capacity, and 33,500 metric ton of shrimp can be processed per day in our country. Out of that, 350 plants are EU approved, and total cold storage also we have more than 649, and we can store 3.8 lakh tons of cold storage. And in 2019, India exported shrimp worth 3,800 crore rupees, as I said. And then those who are listening to me, those who are young, graduate, and those who cannot do shrimp farming because of geographical areas. And so we also did some trials on freshwater prawn farming. But to be very honest with you, it is not. It is also lucrative, but not as profitable as Vanami. So we tried hand on our freshwater prawns also, and it was still a profitable. You can easily earn 2-3 lakh rupees per hectare, but not like Vanami. When you do seriously very good Vanami, and you can produce up to 9 to 10 ton, and you can earn 9 to 10 lakh rupees per crop per year. So we also tried the Asian sea bass, which is called Let's Calcarifer, Betki. We did that also, and that trial also we did. Then the harvest was very good. You can see we reached up to 1.5 to 2 kilo size. Then we also did mullet fishes in our farms. We also tried cage farming in Ukai, but this is not my main forte. I have covered this because those who wants to do, they can very well understand what choice of business they can pick up for the freshwater, the cage farming. They can do the fishes. So I'm going to cover a little bit on that. So those who are interested to do cage farming, they can go to the reservoir. They can install the batteries of such cages. And I'm going to show the candidate species which can be done. Major crabs, Katla, Rohu, Miracle can be done. Pangasius, sea bass, tilapia can be done in cages, freshwater cages. And this is generally a financial outlay for those who are interested to do this business. A unit of one battery, where 24 numbers of cages can be done. A capex, maximum capex will be 40 lakh and operational cost can be 60 lakhs. So together 1 crore, but easily 30 lakhs per crop, which is of 6 months, can easily be earned through doing freshwater cage farming. These are marine cage, which is not much practiced in India, but now recently Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana giving a lot of weightage for marine offshore farming. So marine offshore farming, cobia, grouper, pompano, pearl spot, sea bream, snapper, these fishes are candidate species for marine. And there also I have given a financial outlay, one battery, 20 numbers. Again, the capex is almost the same as a freshwater cage farming, 1 crore. But here, because seawater marine fish fetches a high premium price, so your profit is almost double. So inland fish farming also I'm just covering. Those who are interested to do inland freshwater farming, fish farming or prawn farming. These are the candidate species: is Rohu, Katla, Mrigal, Pangasius, Magur. And you can see the financial outlay. Maximum the capex will be 30 lakh, operating cost will be 28 lakh, and per crop you can easily earn 16 lakh rupees. So ornament fishes also, those who are interested to do ornament fishes, which is a very good picking up business. These are the candidate species what you can rear in ornamental, and this financial outlay can be 20 lakh rupees only, but the profit return is very high. You can sell into whatever stock you have, you can sell into aquarium suppliers and all, and the gross income can be easily 10 lakh rupees. So this is what I have covered, but now I will get into the highlights, the positive aspects of shrimp farming. To me, the biggest achievement is that the salt-affected waste net is converted into the best productive land. The employment opportunity is immense. Per hectare can create a livelihood opportunity and employment opportunity to 40 individuals. Infrastructure development is very good in coastal. There is a reverse migration. People from the city, A-tier, B-tier cities are now going back to the rural areas to get into the aquaculture. It is highly labor intensive. Support food. It is the cheapest form of protein. So today, you know that India suffers from protein deficiency syndrome. 47% of the people still has the PDS. So aquaculture especially can produce the cheapest form of animal protein, which is very good with protein, the amino acid profile, the fat soluble vitamins, the water soluble vitamins, the minerals, everything is very good. And it's as a very big foreign earner. Last year, we did a turnover of 40,000 crore rupees. And when it comes to why I say opportunity is unlimited, so you can see from farming to shrimp hatcheries to feed mill, on an average every year, they can employ 14,000 fisheries professional to this industry. And this is the slide which will give you the employment opportunity by developing 1 hectare of freshwater or brackish water or marine. Directly you give an employment to 10 people. And this is my 125 acre best aquaculture practice certified farm in Surat. Like this, I have almost 6 sites. And then those who are interested to do shrimp farming in inland or the brackish water, I have given an outlay here of 5 hectares. The capex is still 50 lakh, but operating cost is high because of the cost of production. So total operating capex is 1.62 crore, but you can very well rewarded by 40 lakh rupees of net profit per crop per season. So after that, even I have also started because I believe that our 8 lakh ton shrimp has been completely dependent upon our foreign exports. So last 3 years, I felt that whatever today I am is because of shrimp farming. So in India, we have 1.36 crore population. So even 50% of that can consume a 1 kilo shrimp per annum. I'm again repeating 1 kilo shrimp per annum. So India domestic market can be very well picked up, and the farmers will be very well supported because our dependency about export sometimes is hitting back. So I started promoting a brand of my restaurant and fresh supply called Jingalala. And then you can see a very nice engineering, menu engineering we have done. We have more than 45 dishes supplied. And then we have also had a Jingalala fresh from our pond to your plate farm fresh shrimp variety, which we have started promoting. And then I would also love to share some extraordinary stories, because it's not, shrimp farming is not about myself. Shrimp farming is all about the community development, the livelihood opportunity. So is I'm still audible to everybody?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, yes.
So this gentleman, what you are looking into a picture with Porsche car, I'm very happy to share this gentleman's story. He is not some superhero or a multi-billionaire. He is actually a shrimp farmer. And you will be fascinated with his growth because the next slide will really, really impress you. His name is Rahul Bhagwagar. And you can see this is me in 1997. This is me who's holding the cap. And the one who is exactly, you can see a small head which is popping out from my behind. He is the boy. And for your surprise, he used to work on shrimp farm as a labor, 80 rupees per day. He used to come to harvest the shrimp on our ponds. And today, his own individual turnover is more than 200 crore rupees. Imagine the phenomenal growth of this young man who has understood that how shrimp farming can transform. And it is not only Rahul. I have thousands of such stories which has transformed their life, which nobody can believe. Today, this gentleman is operating more than 500 of his own pond and a distribution network. And he's also become a superhero in his community because he's also developed his own people, own friends into this business. So this is the another gentleman. His name is Jignesh. He 2002, 2003 he entered into. He used to sell a small time medicines on scooter, and he used to go door to door to farmers and used to sell some medicines. But today he is a proud owner of this 250 crore rupees venture called Ishi Marine. They have a tie-up with Ziegler, American feed, and he is the first in the country to import the broodstock, which is called like multiplication center, broodstock multiplication center. And he's also running his own 200 ponds. So like that, it's not about the individual farmers and all, but it's the second phase development also. This is a phenomenal growth. This is AMI engineering. Why I'm showing you this picture? Because today, not only the shrimp farming industry in Gujarat has developed, but because since shrimp farming requires a lot of pumping, you can see the number of pumps, because this people's job is only to repair and maintenance the pump. So this Shailesh Bhai Panchal and his team of 40 people, they got an immense business opportunity right in the heart of the Olpad Taluka, where 15-20 years back, nothing used to grow. They used to come to Surat for doing the mechanical job. You can also see Prakash B. Patel. He just sells the pole of Nilgiri plant and bamboos, and he makes shutters for these 10,000 ponds. So the phenomenal business they have got on the doorstep. You can see even these are the Rajasthani Jat people, the farmers people, those who come to this pond to make new ponds and repair the ponds. People like Shravan and another, there are more than 6,000, 7,000 tractor workers, those who now get their livelihood because of the shrimp farming development in Gujarat. These people from UP, Bihar, those who run the small tempos, you imagine 1 lakh ton of feed is required to reach from the godowns to the farmers. And this truck, this pickup can hardly carry 2 tons. So imagine thousands of such trips are required. So these people get 24/7 jobs. And even this Viraf Patel, I'll tell you 1 minute as the story of this Babaji. He's a Parsi fellow. He used to operate this small processing, this ice plant in the month of April, May, to the peak of the summer. Then 6-7 months from monsoon, winter, this poor man never used to operate this pond, this ice plant, because there was no pond operation. But today, he and his son, they manage such 3 ice plants, and they supply 24/7 to all the shrimp farmers of quality ice which is needed for shrimp harvest. There are more than 10,000 laborers. 1 labor, 1 pond. Imagine 10,000 labor from the Raurkela and the Odisha Adivasi areas. So for them, every village has become opportunity for a lot of grocery people to sell the groceries to these laborers. Diesel pumps. This single diesel pump supplies more than 300 crore rupees of diesel to the adjoining shrimp farms. The laborers, intense labor. These are labor. This is Delabhai Patel. He used to work in the salt pans of Bhavnagar. Now these people have started, because when you work in salt pan, I have seen these people, their soles, it was a crack of almost 1 inch. The blood used to ooze out because of this side effect of the salt. So now all these people, hardworking people, they got an opportunity to work with us, and they are become so expert because they develop each and everything. They right from A to Z, from this pipe laying to construction of the outlays, of the laying of the plastic. So all these people have got an immense opportunity to work with us. Even the smallest example I'm showing, this man supplies potable water to the labor, those who are staying on the farms. Per day, he takes 7-8 trips. Per day, his income is more than 5,000 rupees. So such people has become part of our growth and progress, and how shrimp farming has phenomenally helped this, the massive development of things. You can imagine 1 pond. I'm showing you a picture of labor. This is a team of 15 people. They come from the local village, they harvest the shrimp, pack the shrimp in 4 hours, and they take 500 rupees per labor. So 7,500 rupees will be shared by this group. So imagine we have Gujarat right now when I'm talking to, we have 12,600 pond. 12,600 pond harvested twice a year. So what kind of income, what kind of a livelihood, what kind of employment is generated as a second phase benefit to the community. So finally, last 2 slides. This is what Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, because I'm very proud to tell you that in 2005, our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji was a Chief Minister in Gujarat, and I happened to meet him twice or thrice and discuss so many good positive aspects, especially the production from the wasteland, labor intensive, and foreign revenue earner. So now our Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana has been launched with the main objectives of doubling the production, doubling the exports, and doubling the farmers' income. So you can see out of 2050, the outlays, central share will come 9,407 crore, state share will give 4,880 crore, and the beneficiary share will be 5,763 crore. So this is a very, very big push for the development of aquaculture in our country, because our government has also understood the potential of this business, because this has the mandate to provide employment and livelihood to 1.36 billion population of the country. So finally, dear friends, thank you so much for this time. And finally, I'd like to conclude, yes, aquaculture has the power to transform the rural economy by providing immense opportunity to produce food and profit for all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you so much.
Manoj?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm stopping the share.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I think very, very inspiring, and the lot of comments in the chat box, Dr. Sharma. I think it's a very inspiring story. I'll just read out some of the questions which have already come.
Yeah, yeah,
From
please.
Rotary eConnect,
And
Subir
I'm
is
extremely
asking,
sorry because of actually, I 12th hour I need to operate it on from my mobile. So
yeah,
I'm really sorry for the disturbance caused.
yeah, no problem. So, Mr. Subir, the Rotarian Subir, there is asking any specific reason that Andhra is leader in the shrimp business?
No, because they were they started doing fish and shrimp farming almost 40 years back. So and because by nature they are very aggressive, because lot of agricultural lands they have, and especially they are blessed with the river Godavari. The east and west Godavari districts are full of fish farms, and since ages they used to do fish farm, they have converted back to shrimp farm, and that's why they are the leader. And there is also there's a lot of political push for this business, and they have a large say, and that's what the state is very progressive. Gujarat and other states, they catch up because we don't have that much agricultural land. So
Right.
Gujarat is largely dependent upon the government to give the land allotment. So it's a slow process.
Right.
But now,
Andhra has a good political
yes,
support. I think
they
that's the
have
clear
very keen to
differentiator.
allot the land. So slowly
Andhra,
other states like West Bengal, Odisha and Gujarat is catching up soon.
right. So Andhra had a good political support and early start. These are the
Political
two
support,
main
and 99% development is in their private lands because they are rich with agriculture lands.
Right, right.
So it
One
was
of our,
very easy for them to convert. But for us in Gujarat and all, we need to depend upon the land allotment from the government.
right, right. One of our other Rotarian from our guest club, Chandrapur, Mr. Madhusudan, is asking, what is the prospect of shrimp farming and Chandrapur and Gadchiroli in Maharashtra, which are famous for Jinga quality fish? Should it be possible to give best prices to Adivasis?
See, fortunately, yesterday only I had a long discussion, 30-minute discussion with Mr. Praful Patel, who was our former aviation minister. And this is Bandara, Gadchiroli, that area, Gondi area. A lot of saline affected lands are also there, and they have more than I think 25,000-30,000 ponds which are above 5 hectare, 10 hectare. But I'd like to tell you, to the participants on the audience, those who are listening to me, I will tell you with very confidence that wherever there is land and water, fish, shrimps can be grown. So science has reached to such a good level that wherever there is water and land, fishes and shrimps can be grown. And definitely it's a future next 5 to 10 years. And even amid COVID, people have understood the value of eating good food which can boost the immunity. So I strongly believe fish is the future in our country next 10 years.
So no need of a
It can be
coastal
grown
area.
anywhere, Kashmir to Kanyakumari, anywhere it can be grown.
Okay, great. Dr. Radhakrishna, our vocational service director, has a question. What are the steps to be taken to avoid viral or bacterial infection?
Oh, see, disease, whether it's a human being or anything, livestock rearing, it's going to be part and parcel of our life. But yes, today, any new disease and the emergence of diseases is going to come. There's going to be a challenge. But I think biosecured husbandry practices, whether it's us, now today we are using masks, we are sanitizing the hands, we are taking care of our lives. So same thing, you need to take care of your farm. You have to handle your farm as an individual. It has to be a lot of sentiments, and it has to be practiced with very good husbandry protocols of screening the good quality seed and treating the water well. As I have shown you in my slides, there should not be entry to the animals, crabs, or you need to wash your hands, you need to wash your feet. And then I don't think that can be a big challenge to keep the disease away from the farms. Anyway, I'm very happy and proud that maybe I'm because you can see my father is behind. His blessings are there with me. He's right now is in heaven. But I can tell you, when Manoj Sharma, who can come to Surat, an unknown country, an unknown part of the country where I even didn't know the Gujarati to talk. So when I can prosper with 500 rupees money, and today my company's turnover can be 100 crore, and now today people have made me the president of the Gujarat Aquaculture Feed Dealers Association, one of the most prosperous. So I think there is no substitute to hard work and dedication and consistency. You can achieve that. When I can achieve, I think anybody who is listening to me can achieve with that.
Absolutely,
no
absolutely. Wonderful. I think you are a great inspiration, Dr. Manoj. One more question is, Mr. Shankar Rao, who is joining us from Canada, he's our Rotarian. He's asking how much is the domestic consumption?
That's what I told you. When there is a disaster, there is a big opportunity. Because you can see, when India, when we talk about non-veg, we only talk about chicken and mutton. We never focus on fish. But we are blessed with 136 crore population. So you can imagine our strength, our population is the strength, and our population itself is the weakness. So what I personally believe that we have a great chance of domestic market for fish and shrimp. But to be very honest with you, we need a slogan, something like Sunday ho ya Monday, Rose Khaye Ande. See, this slogan of National Egg Coordinating Committee has transformed the fortune of the poultry farmers. So right now, I urge to the even government of India, those who get a chance to listen to me through this program. So India needs a slogan now for promotion of fish. And since Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana is launched, I think next decade will be a decade of fish and shrimp market in India.
Great, great. Our people from Chandrapur, Gadchiroli and Karnataka are already inviting you to come there and see how you can help for farming. And they are also asking...
Let me be very honest with you. It's a big due on me because I'm born and brought up in Maharashtra, Nanded. And it's my due. If I don't do anything good for Maharashtra, then my soul will not be freed, you know. So I'm also looking for a good chance to come and do something for the Maharashtrian people.
Yeah, so I think the audience here is the right audience for you to connect.
Surely, I will love to. I'll love to.
Yeah.
And also, my request, those who are interested, either coming from Bangalore or anything, now Surat is well connected with airports. So next 3 months, I will still be running my farms. So those who are interested, you are most welcome. You can be my guest. Come and even visit my farms, and you can also taste one of the world's finest fresh shrimps in my outlet called Jingalala.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for the invitation. One question comes: in Gujarat, does the government give land on lease, or one has to buy the land for this?
The government, absolutely. I'm telling you, very proud that with our continuous deliberation, Gujarat government has amended their single window land lease policy, and I'm very proud that is one of the best in the India. So other states should implement, and those who are listening to me should even any graduate, by science graduate, can go to collector and request them to give a land of your choice, whether freshwater or brackish water or marine. There is a provision that collector is the state level committee chairman of aquaculture development, and he has a right to give a land which is under the revenue. So, and you can also, with that land, you can go to the nearest bank, and under Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, with your 10-20% input, you can still avail the benefit, financial benefit up to 80%. And now this has become very easy. Whether you want to do fish farming, shrimp farming, or ornamental, pearl farming, everything Matsya Sampada Yojana is one of the best. But you need to work hard, you need to go, you need to rub your soul a little bit.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think the last question, why cost of fish is very high?
I don't think so. I think still compared to mutton and chicken, fish is more affordable. When you talk about the production cost of the freshwater fish is below 70 rupees, and right now the wholesale price is 105, 110. But it is the vendor who encashes the more, you know. So when when still you buy fishes from the wholesale market, I think you get less than 150 rupees a kilo.
Wonderful.
Cheaper than chicken and cheaper than 5 times cheaper than the mutton.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a general knowledge question, and please pardon my ignorance. What is the difference between a shrimp and a prawn?
That's a googly question. Many people world over are confused with this term. But let me be honest, there are 2-3 definitions of it. Generally, people say the bigger ones belongs to the pinnate and paleminoid is termed as prawn. And the smaller one, which is basically comes from the marine catch, are termed as shrimp.
So what do we do? Do we farm shrimps or prawns in India?
So right now, whenever people do freshwater, they call it prawn. And right now, what we do, wanami, which is exported as a marine, so we term it as a shrimp. But if you see the shrimps, there are more than many varieties of shrimp. But if you do the proximate analysis of them in terms of protein and vitamins and other things, they're almost very close to each other.
So second
Not
question,
much
the last one from me. When you process the shrimps or prawns in the factories, are they deveined at that time, or the deveining is done at the cooking end?
No, no. We have varieties of packing. It depends upon the buyer's demand. We pack whole shrimp, which is with complete body and tentacle. Then we also pack headless. Then there comes the PD, peel and devein, as you said, and then also comes the peel, devein, and tail on. There are hundreds and hundreds of packing. Depends upon the packers. Important is that you need to pack the shrimp very soon after the harvest, so the freshness can be preserved.
Thank you,
But
sir.
but people, the household people, they love to have a clean shrimp, which is called PD.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wonderful, Dr. Sharma. I think you answered very quick. I think the test match questions you answered in 2020 format. So thank you so much.
Manoj Kabre sir told me, sir, because the format is 2020, because why I spoke very fast, because I wanted to convey my message and such a in-depth of the subject.
I think it was very good.
Kind of time.
It was very good.
That's what, pardon me, I didn't make it more scientific, because I could understand a lot of participant and audience. They just want to understand the subject rather than going the technical details.
Yes, it was very favorable, very favorable.
And I also appeal those who are I'm very keen and enthusiastic to give a few outlets of my franchise, Zingalala. Those who are interested, let me know, and that way you can be a part of this domestic market trend.
Yeah, sir, I would suggest you can put your contact details in the chat box, because many people are asking your email address as well as your phone number in the chat.
Because see, the moment I am touching the screen, then maybe I'll see.
President Manoj, I will do the honors on behalf of Dr. Manoj.
Yes.
Hi, brother. How are you?
Pranam.
I think we should all be thankful to this gentleman who has introduced me to your forum.
That is what I was about to say, that it is because of Dr. Bridge that I could get connected to you. So thank you very much, Dr. Bridge, President. And now I am going to hand over this particular session to Dr. Bridge to introduce our chief guest for the day, Rotarian Upendra, who will give you the Vocational Excellence Award. Over to you, Dr. Bridge.
Thank you very much, President Manoj. To this August gathering, my humble namaskar and good evening to everyone. I'm very honored today to be amongst two eminent personalities of my life. One who has inspired me into this profession, into this Rotary world. He's our chief guest today, Dr. H.O. Upendra, my guru from Veterinary College, Bangalore University. And before I go with a quick introduction of Sir, I also would like to say my big thanks to my big brother, Dr. Manoj Sharma. I'm sorry, my voice may be fumbling as I just came from the hospital 10 days after hospitalization. So kindly pardon me for that. So thanks, Dr. Manoj, to enlighten all of us. You have given a very clear roadmap to the entrepreneurs or the budding enterprising Rotarians and non-Rotarians present here, who may not be knowing much about shrimp farming, but for sure after this just 45 minutes of session, they have seen what it can bring, not only money, but also a lot of employment, community development, even women empowerment in a very remote locations, wherever we can think about bringing the Adivasis to the main forum of the society. So with the humble tribute to you, Dr. Manoj, I would like to do the honors of introducing briefly Dr. H. Upendra. Sir is working as professor and head, currently in Department of Medicine, Veterinary College, Bangalore. Dr. Upendra completed his undergraduate degree program in veterinary sciences with distinction. Also completed his master's in veterinary medicine with gold medal and doctoral degree program also as a gold medalist. Dr. Upendra joined Rotary Movement as a charter member of Rotary Club of Bangalore Vijayanagar during 1986-87 and served as president of the club during 92-93 when the club was adjourned as the best club in the district 3190. Presently, he is an active member of Rotary Bangalore North. He has served Rotary International District 3190 in various capacities, especially like chairman of various committees, including Pulse Polio, as an assistant governor, district secretary, GSE leader, assistant district trainer, and conference secretary. Rotarian Dr. H. Upendra is recipient of various awards, which include Best Veterinarian Award of Karnataka Veterinary Association, Indian Society for Veterinary Medicine, ISVM, Appreciation Award, and National Level Gold Medal, Regional Service Award of the Rotary Foundation, Outstanding Rotarian Award, Polio Crusader Par Excellence Award of District 3190, District Foundation Appreciation Award, and many more. Dr. Upendra, fondly called as Dr. Uppi in District 3190, he is fond of traveling, public speaking. You will hear real sweet words and wisdom, which is I'm blessed with, and many of us in Rotary District 3190. He also is very fond of theater activity and photography. Sir is blessed with and Sridevi ma'am and one son, Achyut, who has completed his engineering. He's also working with MNC. Over to all of you, Dr. H. A. Upendra. Thank you very much, sir, for giving me opportunity to present yourself in front of August gathering here.
Thank you, Bridge. Can all of you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Bridge, for those nice words. First of all, let me congratulate and compliment Rotary Whitefield Central to take the lead in organizing this unique program, Gnana Vidya Vaividya. And I would like to thank Dr. Radha, District Vocational Director, President Manoj, and Mayank, Secretary, and of course, my friend Bridge, who introduced me. I was listening to Dr. Manoj Sharma. His speech was inspirational, educative, and he has brought a lot of change in the life of people through shrimp farming, aquaculture in Gujarat. He has social concern. Rotary opens opportunity. What today Manoj Sharma has shown is even the shrimp can open opportunity. A boy who was working can become a millionaire. So definitely he happens to be one of the best candidates to receive Vocational Excellence Award from 3190 and all the other Rotary clubs that are present here. With the permission of the President, Secretary Radha, can I read out the citation and hand over the Vocational Excellence Award, sir? Hello?
Please, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, let me read out the this one. Rotary International and Rotary Bangalore Whitefield Central proudly bestows Rotary Vocational Excellence Award to Dr. Manoj M. Sharma in recognition of his excellence achieved in the chosen field of vocation and contributing to the good of the society. And this is presented by me. It says actually it is given by the Rotary and it is signed by the President, Secretary and Radha. Let me tell you, Dr. Manoj, we are very happy to bestow this Vocational Excellence Award. Vocational Excellence Award is normally given to the people who have done something, a great job, an amazing job. And by your speech, I could definitely make out that you have brought a lot of changes to the needy people. And we welcome you to Karnataka also. From Gujarat to Maharashtra, Karnataka is not very far off. Please do come. We do have coastal line. We do have river here. We can do something together here. So thank you so much.
Thank you for the honor, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Upendra. Thank you so much for doing this. I think there could not be anybody better than you to do this because the field is so connected. Thanks a lot. I would now request our vocational service director, Mr. Rajaram, Rotarian Rajaram, to do the vote of thanks.
I would like to thank our district vocational director, Dr. Radhakrishna, and district vocational team and district IT team and Rotary and Devdasan for arranging this entire, arranging and coordinating this entire event. I would like to thank Dr. Manoj M. Sharma for the excellent talk. It's really very, very inspiring. And then I am a vegetarian, but today I came to know about the entire, how the aquaculture industry works, and then what are the opportunities it creates to the people, how its entire community can develop through this. It's really, really inspiring. Thanks for showing a lot of information on this. We thank you very much. And I would like to thank Rotary and Dr. Bij Mohan for introducing Dr. Manoj M. Sharma for us for this event. I would like to thank Rotary and Dr. H.A. Upendra for providing the Vocational Service Award to the speaker. I would also like to thank all our guest clubs, Rotary Bangalore Yelanka, Rotary Nasik Smart City, Rotary Bangalore Kuvempu Nagar, Rotary Bangalore Reach Out, Rotary Bangalore Pinya, Rotary Hassan Hoysala, Rotary E-Club of E-Connect, Rotary Chandrapur, and Rotary Bangalore South, and Rotary Chandrapur Hirai. So I would like to thank all of you to join today and then make this program very nice. Before we end the meeting, I would like to announce the next vocational service talk. As usual, next Wednesday, October 14, 6:30 p.m., we have a Food to Fight. There is another inspiring talk. There are two speakers, Mr. Prasun Gupta and Ankit Sahu. I hope that will be more really similar to this event. A lot of information will be there. I would like everybody to join next week also. Thank you for joining today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you that we are ending on time, and wishing everybody safety and good stay.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.